What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Manga Madhouse, a channel where I, Darian, take you through my manga collection journey. We talk about manga, we talk about collecting manga, we talk about all things manga related. So if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and become a part of an amazing community of amazing people who love manga, who love anime, who just want to have a connection and want to talk to people about manga and anime. We're great, I promise. In this video, if you cannot tell by the thumbnail title, we'll be talking about my manga collection. This is, I think, I've only been collecting manga for 6 to 7 months, so I wish I could do like a year of collecting manga or whatever, but this will have to do. This is just my manga collection tour for 2024, and of course I'll do this every year as long as I'm creating content. So thank you all for just being a part of the journey, and I'm not even going to do this intro any longer. Let's just go ahead and get into the video. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get into it. As you see here, the first thing that's on my shelf is 21st Century Boys. As you know, it continues the story of 20th Century Boys, which, spoiler alert, I have in a new manga haul. I didn't get all of them, of course, but I got like the first 2 volumes. So that's a series that I want to collect, and as soon as I finish collecting them all, I will more than likely go ahead and then just read it. Part of me, I don't know, part of me is a little impatient and may just go ahead and read it and then collect it, but we'll see. As of right now, I'm just going to collect because I have so many other things to read. I'm going to just collect it. Hopefully by the time I get them all, it'll probably be time for me to read it. We'll see. But yeah, I got that. I think like at Barnes & Noble, I just found that and was like, oh, they never have anything 20th Century Boys related, so I went ahead and got it. All right, so and my shelf is not working with me. I'm not even going to grab it. You don't even need to see the front. All right, so for the second one, as you can see, I have the first 2 volumes of Banana Fish. If you're not familiar with a Banana Fish, it's labeled a shoujo. I don't know too much about it as far as like giving it away or anything. Like I said, I only have the first 2 volumes, but from what I've gathered about the whole reason I got it, it seems like a very dark story. It seems like a very real story. I know people say it falls off towards the end, but I almost feel like that about any series that's too long, whether it's a movie, manga, TV show, doesn't matter. If something goes on a little too long, it tends to fall off. So I'm not really scared about that when it comes to collecting, but I am looking forward to reading it. Some of the dark themes in it, some of the themes that like apply to real life, some of the themes that we see in day-to-day life, just certain things I feel like that manga represents or that just has in it, and it makes me just want to see that in the manga medium. Next, we have Black Paradox by Junji Ito. That was my first ever Junji Ito I ever read, and I really enjoyed it. It was really weird, but there were some things in there. It just was disturbing to like look at. It wasn't really scary. It was just the way he has his art, the way the story is. It's disturbing. It's just disturbing. The visuals are disturbing. I wouldn't say the story is anything out of left field or anything crazy. It's just, it makes you uneasy. How about that? I know there's some probably other manga that might deserve the disturbing factor or the disturbing word. So we'll just say it just makes you uneasy. And I like that. It was good. Next, we have Blade of the Immortal. As you all know, I think I did in that manga haul. I just really like samurai stuff. So, I mean, that kind of is why I got that. I don't like that it's like flipped. So it's not like your traditional manga where it's on, yeah, the front is on this side, and I think they flip the panels instead of actually like rearranging it to fit the traditional manga style. I don't know. You might have to look it up to be more specific, but I believe that's what it is. Next, we have Bleach. I have the first 3 volumes of Bleach. Bleach is something I actually want to get into. I just don't know when I'll do it. It's a commitment. It's 3 different box sets. It's similar to Naruto. I've never watched Bleach, never read Bleach, but I've always kind of just been interested in it. So I do want to read it. I just don't know when that time will come. But of course, I'm going to read the first 3 volumes. If I like it, I'll continue to get the box sets and build out my collection from there. Next, we have Blood on Our Tracks by Shujo Oshimi. And I might be going a little too slow. I don't know. We'll see. But Shujo Oshimi, I'm currently reading Happiness right now. I think I'm on volume 9 of that. Volume 9 of only 10 volumes, so I'm almost done. And that story is crazy, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I really, really enjoy Happiness. And obviously, Happiness is not Blood on the Tracks. But if there's anything similar to just how Shujo Oshimi is able to tell his story, how things can take a turn and just the unexpected happens. If that happens in Blood on the Tracks, I'm here for it because I really enjoy Happiness. So that's why I keep relating it to Happiness. Next, we have Blue Box. I don't really know too much about the girl, except the girl moves in with the boy, and then they kind of build that relationship there. as you all know, I try to be more diverse with my manga, so I got it to kind of try it out. I haven't read it yet, but that's why I got it. So looking forward to that because most of my stuff is fighting and killing and all these things. So I try to change it up a little bit just to see different types of stories. And I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this is just to be exposed to more and more different manga, more and more different mangaka, more and more different stories. So that's why I got it. Blue Giant, really good so far. I'm halfway through that first omnibus 1 through 2, volumes 1 and 2. It's really good, really, really good so far. It's out of manga I've read personally, even though I'm so early into the series. It's one of my favorites. Blue Lock, I'm pretty sure you've heard of Blue Lock. There's not really much to say there. As someone who has really gotten to the sport of soccer, I'll say soccer because if I say football, people will be confused. But as much as I got into the sport of soccer recently, definitely want to check it out. I typically don't know if I really enjoy sports related manga. I do like The Boxer. I mean, it's a manga, so maybe the storytelling in that's a little different, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, everybody has good things to say about Blue Lock. It looks intense. It looks enjoyable. I mean, I don't see it being too bad. And then, as I just mentioned, The Boxer, I have volumes 1 through 3. A really good story. I need to go ahead and finish it. I really enjoy that as well. All three of those have been read. I'd much rather read it physically, but I'm probably just going to read it digitally just because of the fact that the physical release is a little slow and everything's online. So Boxer, I really thoroughly enjoy it so far. I suggest you read it as well. All right, and so for this shelf right here, we obviously you see Chainsaw Man. It's just 2 series. I have Chainsaw Man and Claymore right here. First 13 volumes of Chainsaw Man, and then like on the ends right here, I always put like the little poster or booklet that the manga comes with when it comes with a box set. I always put that on the shelf as well because I have nowhere else to put it, so it won't kill me. Chainsaw Man, obviously one of my favorite. It's not first. It's definitely second. Part two, I'm caught up. Part two is okay. I think the later parts in part two, you start to really see where the story's going. Even though I thoroughly enjoyed part one, it's that middle part, but that transition between part one and part two is just kind of especially considering what you got in part one as a whole. But that transition of part one and part two is kind of shaky, and then you get a decent story, and they kind of leave that story. So it's kind of it's up in the air, but I am it's not something I'm gonna drop or say it's bad. I just want to see the full picture before I make my opinion. As of right now, I can definitely tell you I enjoyed part one thoroughly more than part two, even though there are parts in part two where you see the growth of Tatsuki Fujimoto as far as just his storytelling. He touches on different themes in part two, and I really enjoyed it. But then it just kind of switched from that and kind of became something I'm just don't know if I'm into yet. But it's not bad to where I'm not gonna read it. Next, we have Claymore. Have not read it, but as you know, it's on my manga reads for 2024. I think I'm reading that in Q3, which Q3 would be some. I'm going off the top of my head here. Q3 would be somewhere like what, like July to September or something like that. It's something somewhere there. But yeah, I definitely will be reading Claymore. Maybe it's in part two. I don't or Q2. I don't know. But either way, it's either in Q2 or Q3. Looking forward to reading it. And once again, the booklet for Claymore's right here. There's some cool stuff in there to check that out. I won't show it because most of them are naked. So we're just gonna skip that part. But the art is cool, and I really really look forward to reading it. For this next part of the shelf here, you see Claymore, so it's Claymore's finishing off there. Then the first 2 volumes of Colorist by Kent. Basically, Colorist is about these things that came to Earth and took all the color away, and someone's fighting to find the color in the world. So everything's essentially black and white. It just sounds interesting. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I say it all the time. I will probably read that this year, especially considering more of the physical copies are out than I thought. So I will. That's something I will try to make time for, especially considering on Q1 of me reading, I'm actually a lot further ahead than I thought I would be because like I'm almost done with Happiness, and then I'm trying to do like 1 series a month. So far it's working out. I might be able to slide Colorist in there. We'll see. And then as you see, Dragon Ball from the and there's a poster and then there's a book in there somewhere, but I'm not gonna I'm too lazy. But Dragon Ball, the box set, volumes 1 through 16. I've seen the anime a couple of times. I think I only seen it through once. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading it because I heard that Dragon Ball was started off as more of a comedy and then it kind of got more serious. And then that's kind of where, we takes us to Dragon Ball Z, where it's a little mixture of both. And as you can see, also, I have Dragon Ball Z. Got that from the box set, volumes 1 through 26. It's only 1 through 11 on the shelf, but the next shelf's going to have uh, 12 through 26. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, how could you dislike it? I know I get on people because they're like, "Oh, Dragon Ball is the greatest anime slash manga ever," and I'm like, there's a lot more you need to see. But as far as like what it's done for manga, what it's done for anime, you can't argue. You can't argue that. But I do always suggest people to look into other stuff just because it's not that it's bad. They're just people have built on that. That's kind of how foundations work. And I feel like Dragon Ball Z was a great foundation for a lot of the great things we have today. So shout out to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. All right, as you see right here, you see my guy, Kid Buu, one of my most favorite villains, really in anything. I mean, movies, TVs, manga, anime, all that stuff. Kid Buu is one of my favorite villains just because we're in an age now where every villain has to they try to make you sympathize with the villain, and I'm going to contradict myself later, I promise you, with some other manga I have. But we're in a world where every villain has to have a backstory, every villain has to have a reason. They try to make you sympathize with them, they try to make you understand where they're coming from. And at first it was cool because typically we had bad guys that were just bad guys. But what I liked about Kid Buu is that he really was just a bad guy. That kind of was it. There was nothing else really to his story, and he was really good at it. I mean, it's one of those things. I tell people this all the time, and they get upset. But if the show was not called Dragon Ball Z and surrounded by Goku and all these guys, Vegeta, Trunks, Goten, Gohan, so on and so forth, Kid Buu would have won. Kid Buu would have won. He gave those guys problems, and of course, obviously the good guys got to win. But I love Kid Buu. That's kind of that's kind of that. Next, you have Death Note. Death Note, the Black Edition. That's why I got it because it just looks real clean, looks real neat. I think the pages feel a little different to me as well, and I, can't be mad at that. I like just kind of how the book itself is structured, how it looks on the shelf. Death Note as a series is one of my favorite anime of all time. I struggle when I watch it through again because I do it often because it's not that many episodes. I struggle at towards the end or the latter parts of the series just because it's like, once you've seen it, it's like, I don't really want to see that again. I just want to relive the good parts. Just feel that about other series as well. So, yeah, Death Note. I love Death Note, if you didn't know. Demon Slayer, Volumes 1 and 2. That's one of the first manga I bought because I was currently interested in watching the TV show, the anime, of course. I watched maybe the first 5 episodes, and then life got busy. I think I moved, and I just never had time to go back. And then one day I was like, oh, I could go ahead and get these two. I never went back to read it only because I saw that there was a box set. I was like, just maybe to get the box set. But part of me, even though I like the anime, visually it's one of the best anime I think I've seen. But it's just there's some parts where it's just like, anime wise, I forgot the guy's name, but the guy who yells all the time, his voice is truly the most annoying thing I've ever heard. No matter if I dub it, sub it, it doesn't matter. So maybe if I read it, it'll be a little better. I like the story. I like the premise. Like I said, it's visually pleasing as far as the anime. I mean, it's really just sometimes there's some things in there that kind of just irk me a little bit, but it's not to where I'm willing to say the series is bad or anything like that. So I'm definitely interested in reading it all. Definitely interested in probably getting the box set one day, but it may fall in that category. Well, it's not one of my most favorite series, but also as someone who is not caught up, who hasn't watched any of the new stuff, I could be changing my mind by the time I get around to that. Next, we have Dracula. It's basically a story, a manga around Dracula. As simple as that. I really enjoy that kind of time period of work, of novels, of movies, when they kind of play around in that time period. I don't really know what the time period is, but the time period of like, vampires and castles and stuff. That's a cool time period to always, make an adaptation of. So I'm definitely interested in reading that. Plus, I may be pronouncing their name wrong, but the mangaka for that is just responsible for a lot of other good manga, which I actually have another one of his series I'm starting. So, I mean, I just had to get it. Next, we have The Elusive Samurai. It's like historical fiction, so it's not really, based. I wouldn't say it's not based on anything, but it's somewhat around that time period of where you have the Japanese and Chinese dynasties and so on and so forth. And it has to come from somewhere. I've always said that even though these things are fiction, they do get some of their ideals and some of their understanding from real life things, even though it may not be a carbon copy of what happened in real life. I love history. I love historical pieces, very similar to Dracula. So, Blue Samurai, I have not read it at all, but I will get to it at some point because, like I said, I really enjoy that stuff, and I think it'll be a pretty good story. Next, we have Volume 1 of Erased, and Volume 2 is on the next shelf. Spoiler. I mean, you can kind of see it down there somewhere. There you go, like down here. But anyway, Erased, watched the anime like one sitting. I think I was like 2 episodes in, and then my wife was like, "What is this?" And then she watched it, and now she loves it. She like says like, "Oh, what's the anime that almost made me cry?" And I'm like, "You don't want to admit it like that." But no, really good series. I mean, I haven't read it all. Of course, I don't even have all the volumes, but as far as the anime itself, it was really good, really heart wrenching, and it's just one of those ones like you have to check it out. Up next here, as you can see, we have Volume 2 of Erased. We already talked about it. I got Volume 1 of the Fire Force Omnibus Edition. I watched the anime, was not too crazy about it, but I did hear that it was a prequel. No, I think it was a sequel to Soul Eater. Now, I actually really been interested in Soul Eater. It's a relatively long series, especially for the edition I want. So I just went ahead and got it. Now, granted, I'm kind of looking at my collection and thinking I've bought a lot of stuff instead that probably was even more expensive. So I don't know why I didn't get it, but I'm willing to give Fire Force another try. I think one time I was at Barnes and Noble and I got two other. I think I was getting gifts for my wife for Christmas, and I think my total was like just off from like 100. So I wanted something. I'm weird about that. Like I'm like, oh, I need to round it. So I just went ahead and got Fire Force. It didn't make it exactly 100, but whatever the case may be, it did help. So if you got any good things to say about Fire Force without spoiling it, please let me know because I really want to get into it, and also let me know of how important it is to Soul Eater because I believe I want to say Soul Eater is a prequel to Fire Force, but not all the way there, not all the way sure. However, like I said, I'm really interested in Soul Eater, so that's why I got that. It was like right next to the checkout, so I just got it. Next, we have Fist of the North Star. This is one where I think I've in my manga haul talked about how I have like three different volume 2s. So obviously you see volumes 1 through 4 there, and then I have two more volume 2s because I kept thinking it was volume 2 that I was missing, and it actually in reality was volume 1 because I made an order that I think it was from Amazon. I made an order for volume 1 and they canceled it or something because they didn't have it. It was something like that. And I just let it go. And in my head, I was thinking it was volume 2. So I kept buying volume 2, even though it was technically volume 1. So, I mean, that's that. Need to read it. It's an older manga series, but a very interesting manga series. I mean, it sounds like fighting, sounds like space, sounds like all these other things. Sign me up. Next, we have the Flowers of Evil. It says complete. That part always throws me off because there's other Flowers of Evil and volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah blah. So when I got that, I thought that was it, but it's actually more. So another work by Shujo Oshimi. If it's anything like Happiness, I think I'm going to like it. Yeah, I mean that's really that. Next, we have Gantz. Gantz is second in my poll. So if you don't know, I create a poll for my manga reads. What classic/old series should I read? It could be something I don't have. It could be something I have. And Gantz was like losing by a lot, and then all of a sudden it is second. And I don't remember if I said it in the video, but in my head I always said that I would do 2 series, even though in the video I hopefully said 1. Maybe I already gave that spoiler away, but I'm ended up doing 2, maybe even 3, because the way my whole manga reads timeline thing worked out. So Gantz is definitely going to be in there, it seems like, unless y'all go change that again by go voting. So go ahead and go vote. It's on the community tab on my page. Most of those volumes are in plastic, and I didn't know that why at first, but now I understand. It makes all the sense in the world. So if it's in plastic, it's probably fantastic. That's what I'll say. I don't know if that's true, but most time when stuff is in plastic, it's like gory or dangerous or anything. So as long as it's nothing too crazy, I like the dark stuff. So I definitely will be looking forward to reading that. I think that's going to be in Q3 as well, maybe Q4. I don't know. I don't know if you could tell. Okay, it looks better on the camera. Next, we have volumes 1 through 3 of Girls' Last Tour. I still need to read it. I think volume 1 has a bookmark in it from when I read the first 10 pages. I thought it was cool. I don't know why I didn't return to it. I think I started picking up something else. I think I started reading Chainsaw Man, if I'm not mistaken. I think I dropped everything to prepare for that Tatsuki Fujimoto video, and then it went from that to I'm reading all of Chainsaw Man, so I got caught up with that. Speaking of Tatsuki Fujimoto, I read Goodbye Eerie. Really liked it. It's a one-shot by Tatsuki Fujimoto, of course. Just interesting. Just an interesting take on relationships. Just an interesting take on grief. I like it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though it is a one-shot. Next, we have Goodnight Poom Poom. That is also on my manga reads. I'm gonna quit guessing what quarter that's in, but just know it's on my manga reads. I mean, you should know about Goodnight Poom Poom by now. Looking forward to reading it. I need to get the rest. Next, I've been talking about this whole time. Every time Shujo Oshimi comes up, Happiness. It's really, really good. I really enjoy it. I'm thinking about doing a video where I review it, but I'm trying to decide if I should do more spoiler heavy or not spoiler. I have to figure it out. But if you want a review on anything I read, please let me know. I know typically reviews do funny. Yeah, I know sometimes like people say, "Oh, don't do reviews because they won't watch them. Don't do reviews because it doesn't perform well as like other videos." I'm not really concerned about if it performs well. I'm just concerned about if two things match up. If I want to do it myself, which I do, and then y'all want to see it. That's kind of where it goes for me. I don't really care if it catches the algorithm and blows up or anything like that. It strictly just comes down to, do I want to make this video? Does even one person who watch my videos have interest? It's not like I want to do a poll and be like, all right, 50 people need to vote yes before me to do it. No, if I get one person to say, hey, I want a Happiness review, or hey, I want a Gantz review, I will do it if I already want to do it. So just one person, that's all it takes. Really enjoy it. I'm probably going to finish that today. Probably, because I read 2 volumes yesterday. Next, and then we'll go on to the second shelf. Yeah, the second shelf. Next, we have Homunculus, the Omnibus 1 through 2, and then volumes 3 through 4. Homunculus is one that I pick up every now and then. It's too far now. It's too far at the bottom. But when my shelves were arranged a little differently, it was one that I would pick up and just look through. I really wouldn't read what was going on. Really wouldn't pay too much attention to the detail, but it was just one I just liked looking at. I don't know. Does that make me crazy? We'll see. But I've heard so many dark things about it. I heard that people don't want to read it. I heard that it's too much. I've heard a lot of things about Homunculus, but I've never heard it's bad. Even the people who say, "Oh, it's just not my cup of tea," they said it was good. They said it was great. They said they enjoyed it. So much more Homunculus hopefully coming. I just need to go ahead and get on that. I don't know how many series are going to be I don't know how many volumes are going to be in the series, but we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, I feel like we're getting some kind of groove here. The next shelf is H through T, it looks like. So I have my manga in alphabetical order. I know some people do it by publisher. I know some people do it by mangaka. I know some people do it by genre. I just do it by alphabetical order. I'm simple. If any other way, it'll probably confuse me, or I'll overthink it and stay changing it. So alphabetical order for me until I can think of something else. The first one, as you see on the far left, is Horimiya. Always mess that up. Don't know why. Yeah, I have no idea why I keep messing up that name, but that one was recommended to me. I think I've told you that before on this channel. I really enjoy it. I read the first 5 chapters just to see if I want it, and I really enjoyed it, so I went ahead and bought it. I will continue reading it. That's one where it's like I may not ever get a point to where I'm actively reading it unless it just gets really good, but I will always like get the volumes. I will always read it like passively, so I'll just leave that where that is. But yeah, thoroughly enjoy it. I think you should check it out. It is something a little different, as we mentioned earlier. I do like to add some variety. Horimiya provides that for me, so shout out to who recommended me that. Always in the comment section, say hello to them. Next, we have Hunter x Hunter, volumes 1 through 2. Why did I buy this? I do not remember. I know I really like the anime. Never read it. In fact, I'm scared to read it because I have a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine tell me there's so much dialogue that it's a little overwhelming at times, takes a while to read. And while that doesn't scare me because it's not like I'm afraid of reading, it's more like, do I really want to? I think because Mob Psycho has a lot of dialogue, I feel like as I read more and more manga, I'm seeing that there's sometimes people just let the panels speak for themselves. You don't really get that much, at least from my experience with Mob Psycho. I'm still only on volume 11. I need to go ahead and finish that, or at least get caught up to the physical volumes. But it's weird. It's weird. As far as just the dialogue, I think it is a lot, but it's not. I think with Mob Psycho, and I don't know much about Hunter x Hunter as far as the manga. I think with Mob Psycho, I feel like some of the dialogue is useless. It's just useless dialogue to be funny, and I don't find it that funny sometimes. So maybe that's it. So Hunter x Hunter, maybe if the dialogue is a little more useful, it wouldn't bother me. I just feel like with Mob Psycho, some of the dialogue is just kind of fluff, and I just. Next, we have Jujutsu Kaisen. Amazing anime. Have not read it at all. That's really it. At first, I was collecting. It started off collecting it because I heard a rumor that they might shut it down because of the animators were just felt like they were overworked. And I was like, well, if that happens, it's going to be impossible to get the manga. And similar to what's happening with One Piece after the live action, it might have been before, but I never checked until after the live action. It is impossible to get that first box set of One Piece manga because of the live action. So now that Jujutsu Kaisen is really blowing up, I just was scared that, and with that rumor, I was just scared that maybe it'll be hard to get. It's still hard to get more volumes, so like some manga I'm able to buy, like Mashal, we'll use as you see, like it's a little to the right over here. Like Mashal's one of the ones where I read like the first 10 volumes, really, or I'm sorry, 10 chapters, and I really enjoyed it. I went ahead and got the rest. I was like, okay, this is good. And I'll get to it when I get to it, but I just wanted to have it in my collection. Can't do that with Jujutsu Kaisen because it randomly is out of stock everywhere, at least I look, of random volumes. It's not like, oh, volumes 1 through 5 you can't get. No, it's like, oh, you can't get 14, and you can't get 7, and you can't get 9. And then when those come in stock, you can't get 3, you can't get 11. It goes on like that. So that's kind of more why I'm collecting it right now. I will read it. Like my goal is to read everything that you've seen today and what you will continue to see throughout my channel. I just don't know when that time will come, especially if it is a little difficult to get. I'm not going to break my back trying to get it, but I also want to actively collect, if that makes any sense. The manga that is the light is too bright on is Killing and Stalking. Well, actually, manhwa. Still need to read that. I see volume 5, see volume 6, I think. When I go to the store, I never get it when I go to the store because I am afraid that someone might think I am crazy. Now, I'm a local bookstore. There are people who usually when I get manga, they're like, oh, this is a good one. Or, oh, have you heard about this? And they're really cool. There are a couple people who are not familiar with manga and they just say weird stuff. They're like, is that a comic book? Or it's nothing crazy, but it's just like, you just don't want to run the risk of getting that and then someone not be familiar with it and then I'll be looked at like I'm crazy. So that's strictly an online purchase, but I will get to it eventually. I look forward to it. I don't think it'll be difficult to read. So yeah, looking forward to that. Next, we have Look Back, another one shot by Tatsuki Fujimoto. This one I did not like as much as Goodbye Eerie, but I did think it was pretty good. I did think it talked about some relationships, which is I feel as though that's something Tatsuki Fujimoto talks about a lot. From Chainsaw Man to Goodbye Eerie to now to Look Back. I've not read Fire Punch, so I don't know about that. But I feel like relationships, the difference, the duality in relationships, I think is something that he really likes to touch on. Whether he's doing that on purpose or whether that's me reading too much into what he's doing, I really enjoy it because you're seeing, to me, it's never the same relationship with these characters, and I really enjoy that because you're getting different parts. And even when I'm reading Chainsaw Man, I'm not seeing the same relationship between the two characters, Eerie and I forgot the guy's name, in Goodbye Eerie. It's not. I don't see him replicating the same kind of type of relationship. So I think that's pretty cool. Next, as you see, as we talked about earlier, is Mashal, volumes 1 through 13, and yeah, Mashal's really cool. I saw that there's an anime, but I'm probably going to continue reading it. Not that I'm not interested in anime. I definitely will check out the anime, but that's how I found it. That's how I started it, is by reading it. Really enjoy it. I think it's funny. I think it's something like you can kind of turn your brain off, at least at the part where I'm at. Like I said, first 10 chapters. Almost said volumes again. First 10 chapters, really enjoyed it. Thought it was good. Had a good time. It's one of those. It's one of those that you just pick up and have a good time with, and I do every time. I will just move the camera down. There's no need for an edit here. Next, on the second part of the shelf, which I might speed this up because I have no idea how long this video is going to be. That's just going to help because Naruto's coming up, and that's like 100 different volumes. So anyway, next is Mob Psycho. I kind of talked about a lot about Mob Psycho earlier. It's weird. It's and by weird, I just mean maybe I just don't get it. I enjoy it. This is my thing with Mob Psycho. There are parts I really thoroughly enjoy, and there's parts I'm like, okay, I just want to get to the end. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, volume 11. I've been on the same chapter forever. I think chapter 84. It's interesting, but it's not interesting enough. It feels like you're getting nowhere fast. That's just kind of where I'm at. I like Mob. I like his brother. I don't like Reagan or Reagan, whatever, however you want to say his name. I know some people are saying, oh, well, you go through the arc where, he realized he's being, crappy to Mob. That didn't do anything for me. I went through it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was important to have in a story. Did it make me be like, oh, okay, I completely, he still pisses me off. That's really it. I like some of the powers. I like some of the villains are kind of I feel like they're a little lackluster. I don't know. It's just weird to me. It is just weird. Mob himself is excellent. I think he is a wonderful main character, a wonderful protagonist. The characters around him just are so lackluster to me, and I don't know if it's like that in One Punch Man, which could be because I know One Punch Man. I didn't really get into anime. I didn't even know Mob Psycho was made by the same person when I got it, but with One Punch Man, it was. Satima was the main person, and you could tell that, and he was probably one of the most fleshed out characters, at least in the few episodes I watched. I get that with Mob Psycho. Everybody else is just kind of there. They have their little stories, but it's just nothing to really wow me, nothing to really impress me, so I'm really, really struggling to finish it. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Moriarty, that is another kind of like detective, historical fiction type of manga. It's based off a book, I believe. It's pretty good. It's pretty good from what I've read. I didn't read much. All these manga, I'll read like a couple of chapters before I get them. Maybe not even a couple of chapters. Sometimes I'll just read one. And Moriarty was one of them. It's the genre itself is what got me into it, so that's why I got it. But like I said, it's like a detective, dark, historic fiction manga, basically about this guy that is trying to be like a patriot or something for his country. I don't know. Words like that I could be getting wrong. But essentially like the UK is taking over and he's trying to have his country kind of fight for himself, essentially, is what I get from what I've read and what I've read online about it. It is what it is. Next is My Hero Academia. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed the anime. I don't think I finished it. But the reason I didn't finish it was because my wife and I were watching it together, and then we stopped. She loves watching TV, but she needs a break. I do too. Problem is, she uses her break to watch other shows. So then it's like if you're constantly jumping, taking breaks, I feel like you never finish it. My break is I'll do something completely unrelated. So if I'm watching 20 episodes of My Hero Academia in 3 days or 2 days, I'm going to go play the game. I'm going to go watch basketball. I'm going to, do something else. She watches just more shows. So we never get to finish certain shows. And then also, like, I think the time in which she likes to take a break is when it gets slow. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you have nothing good to return to. And yeah, I'm overthinking it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do that. I do that with manga, so I get it. I just always pick on her because it's fun. But yeah, she thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoy it. I got the box set because it was super, super cheap one night when I was looking on Amazon, so I went ahead and got it. I don't know when I'll get the rest. I have no idea when I get the rest. I probably want to read or at least catch up on the anime before I get on the rest. But I'm pretty far in the anime. It's not like I'm in the beginning. Pretty far. Just, I need to go back to it. We'll go down again to Naruto. I will not Well, actually, that will probably edit because I burped. So you didn't hear my burp. Good thing. So on the far left, you have this, all right, over here, this like Naruto official character data book. Really cool. Gives you stuff like their birthdays and stuff they like. It's silly, but it's also cool to have as someone who thinks Naruto is one of the best anime ever. And definitely it's one of my favorites. So, of course, I am biased. But Naruto, I love, love, love. Naruto, love everything about it. And you can see my boy Itachi right here, which is crazy because I don't even care for Itachi like that. Now, I can acknowledge he's one of the best characters. I can acknowledge he's actually one of my favorite characters, but he's just not one of those characters I just go crazy over. Characters I go crazy over, if you're willing to know, Zabuza, as I told you earlier about the whole villain thing and them having a story, it just worked with Zabuza. And Pain. Pain's another one. A guy that's a villain, but you understand his story and it makes just a lot more sense. And I think the difference with those guys compared to like other mediums kind of doing that same kind of trope or same kind of idea is that the way it was executed in Naruto, I feel like it's a little different because Zabuza, you see him as this difficult guy. And to the end, he's this difficult guy. He's a killer. This guy is rough. But I think in his final moments, you see kind of you don't feel bad for him for his past. You feel bad for him for his present because you realize it wasn't until he died or about to die that he really got to feel what it was like to be a person, to have emotions, to care about someone. And because he didn't with Haku, he didn't realize he cared about him. It wasn't until the very end. So I think that's what I like about it. It's not that I feel bad for him per se. It's just hearing about someone who didn't get to feel basic human feelings until the end and that's when they realize it is crazy to me. I think that's what it is. It's not just like his backstory. Pain, the reason I say he's different, I'm sorry that this turned into a Naruto video, but Pain, with him, I feel as though what I really liked about it was that if you looked on his side of the story, he's actually, you could say he's right. You could say it makes sense. Because I know sometimes with villains, we'll just use Marvel for example. In certain villains in Marvel, you're like, oh, that makes sense. I can see why they're upset. But no, if the story wasn't called Naruto and the story was called Nagato or Pain or whatever you want to call it, you could flip literally the story. Naruto becomes the bad guy and Pain it like that. That's what I really like about it is that you could really flip the story. And obviously, based on how it's presented, you could really be like, no, Pain's the good guy. Naruto's the bad. Like it's that. That's what I feel about that. Not Naruto specifically, but just like the whole Leaf Village and all that. That's what I think. And we're just going to skip the other shelf because it's completely Naruto. So we'll go down to the shelf where I have Parasite and Promised Neverland. All right, somehow we are going to manage to kill two birds with one stone here because I was able to fit the bottom two shelves in the frame. This video's getting long enough. I know you don't want to see it all. I apologize. I probably sound out of breath because I'm standing up. Why am I standing up? I don't know. But anyway, we have Orb on the movements of the earth. I had to read it because I don't remember. It's a manga essentially about this guy who is trying to prove that the earth is round, and people who believe that the earth is flat basically trying to kill him. Now you can look at that as pandering. You could look at that because it depends. I don't know if you believe the earth is flat. That's up to you. That's literally none of my business. And actually, if the earth is flat, I don't think that really matters to me, right? As long as gravity works, I don't know. Either way, the point is, I think that's just cool. I think that's just a cool concept, cool story. I'm pretty sure it probably dives into historical fiction, which I've said maybe 50 times on here. I really enjoy historical fiction, so definitely check that out. I think only the Omnibus 1 and 4 volumes 1 and 2 is out. I don't know when 2 and 3 comes out. It's one of the manga that it's just the beginning, so I'm not really in a rush to read it. However, it is something I think about, and I'm like, oh, that's probably going to be good. Next, we have Orochi, which is by Kazu Umez. Very similar, at least to me, to Juji Ito. I have not read that volume yet, have not read that manga yet, but that's what I get from kind of flipping through it. I got it because this year I really wanted to do some, some horror manga for October, and I know that's probably what everyone does, but I just couldn't get to it. I was really new to the space. I didn't really plan it around that much. So this year I just want to be a little more prepared, especially considering I have a baby on the way. Who knows what happens in October? I'm trying to go month by month, not trying to plan at least financial stuff, too far. And yes, it is just buying manga, but if you know me, you know I buy manga in bulk. I don't just buy, oh, this is one volume, 2 volumes. No, I'm buying 30 volumes at a time because that's just what I like to do. I like to see my shelves full. And I'm really proud of this. If you cannot tell. But anyway, Orochi, Kazu Umez, I'm definitely going to check it out. It might be something I just read and then maybe talk about in October. Next, we have one of my favorite anime, but have not read the manga, is Parasite. I don't know what there is to say about Parasite. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's, like I said, one of my favorite anime. I think it's almost done. I had to spell Parasite in my head to make sure, because, it's going to spell Parasite. And I think it's 8 volumes. So, is that right? Para, yeah, Parasite. Yeah, so it's going to be 8 volumes, or 7. I don't know. I'm messing up math, and I'm actually good at math. I'm not really good at counting. Anyway, I'm good at math, I promise. Next, we have Promise Neverland. Watch the anime. I feel like I talked about this a lot, so I'll spare you the details. I watched Promise Neverland. Really, really enjoyed that first season. My wife and I watched it, and we were very happy with what we saw. And then we watched the first episode of season 2, maybe the first 2 episodes, and I was like, "Look, I know how to look for certain stuff without getting spoiled, or if I am reading something, I can tell by how people start to word it. If there's no spoiler alerts, people do a really good job of having spoiler alerts, but I know how to read past the spoiler alert. So I looked at it and was like, I'm gonna read what people are saying, because this season 2 is just not matching up with season 1. And sure enough, without getting spoiled, thankfully, season 2 is horrible. And we ended up watching it all because my wife, she is a completionist. I'll say this, once she's into something, like thoroughly, like really, really into something, she wants to finish it. Good, bad, doesn't matter. She wants to finish it. Promise Neverland was one of those ones where she was thoroughly, thoroughly into, so we went ahead and watched it. I'll drop it. I'll be like, hey, I'll watch this later. But we were spending time together. I enjoyed it. Why not? It made me just want to get the whole series. So I went ahead and got the series. I'm probably going to read it to go ahead and get through it. In fact, it's on my manga reads for this year. The bottom 3, I don't know if you can see here, but it's PTSD Radio. Spoiler alert, I do, and I feel like maybe I've done that too much this video, and then you're not going to watch my manga haul. Either way, spoiler alert, I bought a new volume of PTSD Radio. Now I have 2. I will show you the difference when the video comes, but basically the first volume I have has this weird excerpt from an actual novel in it. It's weird. And when I was at Barnes & Noble, I was like, this one doesn't have it. Then I looked it up, and no one's really it's weird. So I got to show you. I might have a special version. I have no idea. But yeah, I went ahead and bought another one. That will be something I read this coming October, and we can talk about it. As you can see right here, and after that, it's quintessential quintuplets. My wife, she finished the first volume. She really enjoyed it, so now she's going to be on volume 2. When is she going to read it? I don't know. I just got that for her because we're about to have a daughter, and I'm pretty sure that's why she was like, oh, this looks interesting, because she looks and she asked me questions. But this one, she was, so I think that's truly what it was. Her about to be a mom, it kicked in. Don't blame her. She, like I said, she enjoyed volume 1. I told her that. I heard a lot of people, male, female, whatever, everybody has said that they enjoy quintessential quintuplets. It's not just for this specific person. It's something that everybody can enjoy. So when she heard that, she was like, oh, well, can you get it? And I was like, sure. Well, she was going to buy it. And I was like, I'm literally buying other manga. I'll just get it. So I got it. Next is Record of Ragnarok. I read that volume 1 because I was on a work trip, and I stopped by Barnes & Noble for something else. There was I don't remember why I stopped. It was a weird, was it coffee? Because I don't know. I think I started to get a coffee or something because I was already over there, and the one that's like a standalone Starbucks is always has long lines. So I sometimes do go on Barnes & Noble to look and then drink my coffee. But yeah, I was on actually the way up there, and I was like, you know what? I forgot my iPad. I have nothing to read in the downtime. So I read that volume in one day, or one, in that work trip. It was okay. I mean, I thought it was pretty good, about Greek gods and stuff. Interesting. That's really it. It's just pretty interesting. There's a lot of them, so I don't know how much I'm going to collect, but I will say that if you're interested in Greek gods, if you're into violence, if you're into fighting, check it out. Silent Voice, volumes 1 through 4. That is also on my manga reads this year. I think it's for Q4. I got volumes 1 through 4. It sounds like it's a pretty good, coming of age, slice of life type of story. As I've always said, I'm trying to get more diverse, so I got that. Really looking forward to checking that out, but it won't be until the end of the year. Next, we have the summer. Hikaru died. Have not read it. I have not got the time. I have not been able to get to it, but I think it's probably going to be good. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I definitely want to check it out. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. And I really like that blue. I really like that blue on there. Looks really good. Almost reminds me of Carolina blue. Carolina blue is a beautiful color. Yeah, I mean that's kind of it on that. Next, we have Tokyo Ghoul. Almost said Revengers. We have Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is going to be something I read in this quarter in Q1. I might read it directly after Happiness, like read it alongside Blue Giant. We will see, but I'm interested to go ahead and read it. I've seen the first season of the manga, or first season of the anime a while ago, and like I said, I'm willing to drop something. So when I read that season 2, people are like, don't waste your time. I was like, look, I'm gonna take your word for it. If I miss out, I miss out. I will find out later. And yeah, so I'm just gonna read that because I know I want to read Tokyo Re, which picks up from where the manga left off and not from where the anime left off. Because if I'm not mistaken, season 2 of the anime, which I still haven't seen, takes an alternative story. So really looking forward to read Tokyo Ghoul. And now we're about to do the final shelf. So let's go ahead and do that. First, really quickly, I just want to talk about my Akira box set. I love this box set. It's one of the most beautiful box sets I've ever seen. The reason we're going ahead and talking about it because my camera was already pointing down, and I actually have manga for my manga haul that I'm doing on the shelf above it. It's kind of just like my waiting center until I put that stuff in my lovely spreadsheet. And I'm also waiting on 2 more volumes of manga that won't be here till Monday. So that's why I'm doing this video instead, because I was going to do a manga haul. I had to kind of get my manga hauls a little early, not do them last minute of the month. But I have to wait till Monday to get that manga, and that's just going to be a long time. So too long for me to wait, and I don't want to not put out a video because I feel like I've been doing pretty well with consistency, at least uploading once a week. I know it has not been every Saturday like I was hoping, and I know some of the videos have changed around, but just kind of wanted to give you an idea. But anyway, Akira, seen the movie, have not read it. That's something I probably will read. I think I asked the question. It's also on the voting. It was winning for a little bit, or a second. And yeah, then Gantz kind of took over. But I might still end up reading it if I have time. Someone said it's not too difficult of a read. So I might do that and check it out. I want to go ahead and get into it just because how can I have such a beautiful box set and have not read the manga yet? I don't know. Okay, so now we're about to go to the actual top shelf and skip these middle shelves so you won't see that what's going to be in my next manga haul. All right, I had to get some water because I've been talking for a long time without water, and I felt like I was speeding up, so I needed to slow down and gather myself. But this is the last shelf anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. But I felt like I was talking really fast and a lot, so let's slow it down because this is not raw. I'm just making that up. But Tokyo Revengers, my favorite series. Now there are plot holes in this story. I will not pretend there's not. There are some things in here that suck. There are some things in here that are annoying. There are parts where I want to get this arc over with. I did feel like it could get a little bit repetitive. And the main character, to me, is Sorry. One of the worst main characters I've seen. Did not feel bad for him at one point. Did not wish better for him. No, I couldn't stand him. But just the adventure, the ride you go on in this manga, to me, is pretty good, bar none. I say that, but I'm just basing off manga I read, and as you can tell by just if you've been following the channel, it's not like I've read that much. But I just really like just the sense of adventure. I did feel like some of the arcs were repetitive. I know some people are saying the whole thing about Takamichi and is it Hinata? I might forgot it. I might messed up her name, but his love interest and saying how that's a weird relationship because technically he's older. About that, da 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 da. I get all of that. I will not sit here and tell you it doesn't make sense. I will not sit here and tell you you're wrong. But if you take the story for what it is, and I know anytime someone says that, it's usually some bull crap. But if you take the story for what it is, I think it's a good story. The time stuff kind of is a little but and it kind of doesn't make any sense. It felt like, okay, we need to add this in there so that we can progress the story. I get that. But just if you take the story for what it is, I think you're going to have a good time. These are fleshed out side characters. Every side character, you feel like you know them. Every side character you feel like is an important part to the story. Every side character feels as though they really make the story. To me, they make the story. To me, they were just very interesting. I just felt as though just learning more about the side characters, they all bring their different personality. There's so much personality in this manga. And if you had a friend group at that age, even a friend group now, but specifically at that age, because we were, as kids at that age, we were all over the place. Oh, and another thing, I know the age is weird too. Like, they're like 14. It's a lot to be doing in middle school. At least make them high school, something like that. Anyway, if you, at that age, your friends, because you had so many. It was before you really could get betrayed. It was before you really could get backstabbed by your friends. It was before, your interests kind of take you apart. You had an abnormal amount of friends. Guys, people who weren't even supposed to be your friend. Like, you look back and like, why was that person my friend? That's what I get from Tokyo Revengers, because you get all of that personality. Yes, they're doing something that's a little above their age range, in my opinion. But just, I remember being that. I remember being those kids. I remember being out there having fun. I remember being out there and having so many friends that were different personalities, and we were just all from all different walks of life and just all different backgrounds. It was great. It was fantastic, and I feel like that's what you get with Tokyo Revengers. Yes, they're doing a gang. Yes, there's some things, there's some plot holes, there's some bad storytelling in here, but as far as just immersing yourself into the world and thinking about that kind of life, I'm telling you, it's fantastic. So, I really like Tokyo Revengers, but if anyone says they don't like it, if anyone says it's boring, if anyone has anything negative to say about it, I would never say you're wrong. I will never say anything, because you're more than likely right. I just really enjoy it. It is what it is. All right, next we have Tower of God. I really only got that because a friend of mine who I respected the anime opinion said Tower of God was good. I just went ahead and bought it. I was already at the store for something else. I got it. Have not read it yet. I know there's like 2 other volumes out. I know it's a webtoon if I'm not mistaken. So it's, might be even a manga. I don't know. He really likes it. I took his word for it. I just need to read it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. If you know anything about Tower of God, let me know. But I'm sorry I can't provide more of a information for you, because I don't know. Next, we have Uzumaki, another work by Junji Ito. Disturbing, essentially. That's really what it is. It's disturbing images, but I think that's what makes the story so good. Have not read it yet. I know some people hate it. Like, one of my people I talk about all the time is Alex on YouTube. He's one of my favorite manga YouTubers. He talked about it, how we didn't like it. I'm still going to read it. I think I'm going to enjoy it. That's all there is to it. But yeah, another Junji Ito work. His disturbing artwork makes it fun. Next, we have The Way of the House Husband. I don't know. I just feel like this. I don't know if it's slice of life, but I'm just saying I feel as though it could be. I feel as though that's something I'm interested in, as being a husband. I just feel as though I might could pick up some things. No, am I looking for manga for real husband advice? No, but I am looking, I'm not looking for it, but I am open to hearing different perspectives from a manga, really from anything. So, I'm someone that's, no matter what I'm doing, no matter how good I feel like I'm at something or do something, I'm always open to hear different perspectives, because even though I may not agree with your perspective, even if your perspective is wrong, I feel like I'm good at taking bits and pieces of what I need to do and what I need to hear and apply it to how I want to do it. So once again, not looking for a manga to give me life lessons, but I am just interested to see what happens. That's really all it is. Next, we have The Witcher Ronin. It's just The Witcher, but Ronin. I think that's it. I think there's only 1 volume. I've looked up more. I don't think they ever came out with any more, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just the Witcher story in like samurai kind of art, so that's cool. But it's nothing. It looks cool if you want to read it and just be, oh, this is cool, then do it. But as far as like the story and as far as like I don't know where it's gonna go, I wouldn't waste your time buying it. Maybe just read it online. You didn't hear that from me though. Next is Yakuza's Bias. I got that because I wanted to switch things up, and that was before I really, really, really got into manga the way I have now. I thought that would be a good place to start. It's about this Yakuza guy who is watching his boss's daughter and ends up liking K-pop or something like that. Maybe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember, but somewhere along those lines. Thought it'd just be something different. Have not read it yet because other things that I felt as different has caught my attention. So I might need to know that one's good before I dive into that one. And then finally, to finish off the collection, is Zom 100 Volumes 1 through 12. I've seen the first 10 episodes of the anime. My wife watched it with me. We both liked it. Why we haven't returned to it, I think it was because we were caught up, and then she was like, hey, why don't you just wait for it to end so we can stop going week to week. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Other stuff going on, other shows, watching life happening. And then we just never got back to it. But I definitely, she has expressed interest in finishing it. I have expressed interest in finishing it. Whether I finish it watching the anime or reading the manga, I'll be happy either way. I really like the story. It can be relatable at times. It can be kind of wonky at times, but overall, I think it's just a good story. I enjoy it so far. And that does it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to actually get in front of the camera. I had to put my head in here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate just everything you've done as far as just like my videos, share my videos, subscribe to the channel, comment, leave nice comments to other nice people. I just appreciate all of it. And yes, my manga collection has grown significantly since my very first video. And that was the whole point of me doing this video, was to say, hey, look how much my collection has grown. You have all been here to watch that growth. So can't thank you enough. I feel like this is the part where I say, this is how fast my manga collection grows. Your collection does not have to grow that fast. In fact, if you were to take advice from me, don't get FOMO. Don't get the fear of missing out. It's at your own pace. Do what you need. I keep going out of frame here. At your own pace, do what you need to do. Do what makes you happy. If you want to spend all your money on manga, first, I'm a very financial conscious person. First, make sure you make a budget, a spreadsheet. Same way I have a spreadsheet for manga, I have a spreadsheet for my finances. Make sure you plan out what you're going to buy and understand that and set that up. And if you have a significant other, another thing is let them know. They don't need to know how much you're spending, but they at least need to know your budget, especially if you're sharing bills or growing a life together. All that stuff is important. I know you didn't come here to see this, but I just feel as though that goes into your manga collection. Don't just feel like you have to go buy everything to catch up. No, do what you need to do. Make sure your life can handle the growth of a manga collection, because this wasn't inexpensive. All this manga was not $3. So my wife understood. She accepted it. I made a budget for it. So once I pass that budget of the month, I will let it go. I will not just buy anymore. I am done. I am cut off. And that truly is what it is. Sometimes I may go over, but if I do go over, it's because I want this box set or this and that, or I see something. Well, I make sure I save. At that point, I have this rule where if I'm going over my budget, whatever I spend to go over my budget, I also put that same amount in savings. It's just things like that. Just be yourself. Do what makes you happy. Do what fits your life. Don't feel like you got to catch up with everyone else. I don't even have that big of a manga collection. It's like 300. I'm seeing people on YouTube with 3,000. But it is what it is. I just get what I like, and if I like it, I get it. It's that simple. So I know that maybe that's not really what you wanted to see in this video, and this video might be too long. But yeah, I just really, really wanted to make that a point of just doing what makes you happy, doing what's affordable for your life, doing what can keep the work-life balance. I say work-life, but just do what keeps your life balanced. Don't spend all your money on manga and don't have time to take out your significant other on a nice date. Don't spend all your money and then your cat's crying for food. Well, my cat's going to cry for food whether her bowl is full or not, but you get the point. Just do what you can afford. Don't feel like you got to catch up. If you can afford more than others, then spend it. Don't be afraid to show it. I know that's another thing. I feel like people who may be in a better position than others, and I'm pretty sure they're thankful for that, they feel bad. They don't want to show it off. No, show it off. We all want to see it. But then on the other end, we got to be nice and we got to be respectful, because some people do have it better. Some people may have it worse. But we got to be respectful to everybody. That is the biggest thing about this community. And I have never seen anything negative. I've never seen you buy too much. You don't buy enough. Oh, how do you only have this? Why do you have this? I bet you. I've never seen that. And not only on my videos, but on a lot of people's videos. I've never seen anything negative like that. So this is not really, if this doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. But I'm just saying in general, it's just a reminder. But finally, thank you so much for watching the video. I really can't explain this enough. I'm at 740 subscribers. Never thought I'll make it that far. I'm trying to keep my head in the frame. This video was probably way too long. Probably my longest video on the channel, and I'm sorry for that. But I just have a great time making content for you guys. I have a great time reading manga. I have a great time talking to you guys. Spreadsheet, I know I keep saying this, but I promise, it's literally going to come out like tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, next week. The reason is because I made another change, and because I want to make sure it's perfect, because once I get it out to you, it's not like I can keep an updated version, if that makes any sense, of y'all, having every time I make a change, it reflects on your end. So I want to make it as optimal and as automatic as possible. So I'm sorry for the delay, but I keep making changes because like I said, I'm giving it to y'all once I give it to you, it's it. I can tell you what changes I made, but that doesn't mean you can make those same changes. So, but thank you so much. I really really appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough, and I'll see you next time. Probably. I don't know why I said probably. I will see you next time. Peace.